Okay, folks, we are at the last step here. Let's put it all together. Now, if you're going to have a relay, you'll need to hook that up. So let's jump here, and we have here's our relay switch. And again, it doesn't matter if you got this one or if you got this one. The connections are going to be the same. Right? The only thing that's different here is these are reversed. Make sure you can pull this right out, and it'll tell you positive and negative on it. Right? It actually says positive and negative right here, right? So this is the positive side. So these are, like this, if you're going to use this instead. And then all you need to do is it'll come with an N. You plug that into an AC outlet, and then you're going to have a normally on, always on, and normally off. So the normally off mean that these are going to be off if no power is being supplied. So these two are going to work just like this code. Normally on means if there's no power supplied, this will be on. It's the reverse of these. So if you were to send power here, these would be powered. This would not be powered. As soon as you stop sending power, 3 volts, right? Well, then it's going to be the opposite of that. And then this is just ground again. This one's just always on, so you could use that to plug something in. So handy, but I'm going to use the other one. But again, the connections would be identical, right? So let's just zoom in a little bit here. All right. So the only connections here are going to be we have ground. So I brought ground over, and I'm just grabbing ground right here. But again, it doesn't matter where you get it from. And then the other is the GPIO 27. So, and this is right next to GPIO 17 that we've already had connected, right? So that's just coming, right? That's just coming and connecting right here. Okay, so that's that. If you didn't need that, well, I'll show you where you can comment out that code if you just don't want to use it. All right, now more importantly, I guess, is we need to build a model, right? So we're going to, I don't have Chrome on my machine, and Google will not let you use Firefox to go to Teachable Machine to build a model. It's also a good, if I remember at the end, I'll show you, there's a great YouTube video that shows you how to build, the models by hand through code. But Teachable Machine's fantastic, because what this will allow you to do is it'll allow you to build a simple model, right? So go to a Teachable Machine, and I guess a complex model too. And we want an image project. Now there's a whole bunch of videos out on this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's standard. The important part is how do we get the model into our code. So that's what we're looking for. All right. So we want our classes, and our class is going to be Betsy, Betsie, and then we're going to have another class, and this is going to be Ralph. Okay. Okay, so we can. Do I have? Let's see. I don't know if the video camera is going to work or not. Here, let me go to my. And I gotta deactivate my one of my cameras so I can use it. Okay, so we can train a model a couple of ways. I'm going to do a separate video and show you how to scrub the internet for specific images that you want, specifically how to scrub Pixabay. And it's a pretty cool technique to get a whole bunch of images that you can then upload as opposed to using a webcam. Maybe you want to actually classify some specific bird or something. I'll grab a bunch of images for that bird, and you can just upload them and call it Robin or whatever it is. But we're going to use the webcam, and let's go ahead and start with Betsy. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but let's put Betsy right here. Try to get most of this other stuff out of the way. And okay, so I'm going to hit webcam, and it should. Let's see here. Let me do this. I'm going to got my webcam plugged into a powered USB port, and sometimes it's just a little funky. So, yeah, that sounded better. Cool. Okay, so here's the webcam, and here's Betsy. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm not going to do, the more images you do, the much better. I'm not going to do a lot. And flip camera. Okay, that's better. Now I'm going in the direction I would think. All right, so I'm going to hit record, and I'm just going to record a couple of images here. Oh, you got to click and hold. My bad. All right, so 57. You want about the same number of images. So there's Betsy, and let's get Ralph. Here you go, buddy. And we'll switch, and let's turn the webcam off here. Let's go to the webcam here, and we want, what was it, 57 or so? Again, it helps to have about the same. So yeah, I guess I got a few more here. You could delete some, but you know, I'm not gonna worry too much about it. We'll see how it goes. The biggest idea is, how do you actually get your model? Okay, so now we need to train our model. Right? You could have as many classes as you want. And again, we're way off, but you know what? Let's I'm going to, oh, not that. I want to let's trash some of these. I guess it might have been quicker just to add a few, but let's trash. Get down to the same number. It doesn't have to be the exact same number, but pretty close. All right, so now we need to train our model. There's a Google itself put a great video on TensorflowJS, and that's how I know what I know about it. Right, so I don't know a ton about. I'm relatively new to TensorFlow. Know more about OpenCV, but yeah. So you can see here it's recognizing as Ralphie, and let's bring in Betsy. And it's recognizing Betsy as Betsy, right? So we're doing pretty good here. All right. So now let's export our model. So we'll export that model, and you could create a shareable link, so you could upload the actual model to the web, and then just, instead of having to download it. So that's one way to do it. But I'm going to actually download it here, and it kind of gives you some code. But again, this is going to be code running in the browser. We don't want that. Well, I don't want that for this purpose. Right? Now we can download the model. Cool. All right, so let's open this up, and we can close this. I don't need this anymore. And by the way, you can save these, right? So you can save them on Google Drive. I don't know if you can save them elsewhere. Maybe you can. Let's extract all of this. Cool. And we need these files right here. And you can actually copy them through the SSH here, which is kind of cool. So now, before you do this, you need to create a folder. So go into public and create a folder called model. And I'm going to grab the ones I have here and delete these. Okay. All right, and you can't copy paste for some reason. I don't know why, but you can just drag them. So that works out, which works fine. So, okay, so one more time, I'm going to, and you need all three of these. Right, so your weights, look into a little bit about how this works. Your metadata, just the information about your classes, and then the actual model itself. Right? I want to go and put it into model. Some pretty interesting stuff on AI online and neural networks and how it all works. Pretty cool. Right? Okay, so that's that, right? That's everything that we need. Now, the last thing you're going to need to do is, unlike the way we did this inside of our test, where we hard-coded in things like our keys for Cloudinary and Twilio, we're going to actually put everything into a .env, an environment file. Right? So I have an example here. So you got an example when you clone the repository. Here is all the information that you need. Right? You don't have to have two phone numbers. I'll show you where you could change the code a little bit. But if we're going to do it exactly the way I did it, I'll just put in two. But we've already looked at all of these, so you've got all of these values already, right? So you're gonna have to update this file. Now, the way you're gonna do it is this. You're gonna basically rename this file, and it wants to be renamed .env. The reason I put the example on is because I don't want to upload my .env to Git and has all my personal information in it, right? So we're gonna do sudo mv for move and .env.example, and we want to move this to .env. It's basically a way to rename. And voila, now this is .env. Okay, now I'm going to paste in my information here. And I'm going to put in one phone number, and I'll put in a second for kicks. And again, you can change up the code a little bit if you wanted to, so you don't have to have two phone numbers, but you know, it doesn't hurt, right, for fun. All right, let me grab everything here and choose copy. Folks, you cannot move where that env file sits. It must be in the root of your project, just like I have it. We'll save this. Okay, and now I can let me bring this back over here. All right. So now what you're going to notice is we're going to have individual files to do everything we were doing inside of the same file inside of those tests. The main file, right, your server that's going to run is app.js. So a lot of this will look the same. One of the things that'll look different, though, are we're going to have these requires. Right? Now, there's a newer way to do this, but I like require. And what this is doing is it's actually bringing in the functions that are inside of, let's say, take pick. The reason I can require it is because I'm exporting it. So I'm exporting that function. Otherwise, it would be private to this file. I'm making it public and exportable. Right? Some other languages, we might use keywords like public and private and things like that. In Java, JavaScript, we're doing it this way. Right? Okay, so you've already seen most of this code. Let's come back here. Nothing's different here, right? So you'll notice this is identical to code we've already seen. Right? Nothing is going to change here, but for we now have this classify image. So we take a pic, we push it up to Cloudinary, and then what we're going to do is we're going to call a function called classify image. It's going to use our model to let us know if it can figure out whether it's Ralph or it's Betsy, right? This was just for debugging, so I can log out the results. This line here is just using reduce in JavaScript to find the class that has the highest level of confidence. And we'll look at that in a minute, right? So I actually changed this down to 70%. So yeah, I guess I should do that. Doesn't matter. You could put this to whatever you want it. And basically all I'm saying here is Attic Pet is either going to be, at this point, it's either going to be Betsy or Ralph. It's going to choose one of the two. Down here what I'm saying is, hey, the confidence that it is the one that they say it is must be greater than 70%. Otherwise, just set the Attic Pet to other, right? Basically, and you can choose this. Maybe 70 is too high, maybe 60 or something, but I'll leave this at 70 for what we're doing, right? We'll send the text message, right? Again, so this doesn't really change at all. The thing that does change though is I pass the actual class, right? The Attic Pet, Betsy, Ralph, or other, to my send text message. So send text message changed up a little bit, and then the last thing we'll do is we'll look at classify image. So let's take a look at send text message, and again, if they're not here anymore, we're going to have to open up the actual file. Right? So we pass in the URL and the Attic Pet, and then I have a function here called build text object. So I pass it the Attic Pet, and we come down here, and what do? Well, we have the phone in the message, right? And if Attic Pet is Betsy, well, phone is going to equal process.env. This is how we get into that env file, and the reason we're doing it is because of that .env package. Process.env.phone1, right? So whatever was stored for phone 1, that's who's going to get the text, right? And I put in the phone number. Remember, the phone numbers have to be, even in that env file, they're going to be in this format, right? Plus 1, the area code, for me it'd be 207, and then your phone number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that has to be the format for the phone numbers anytime using Twilio. All right. So for the message, I just put save Betsy, and I just log out that it was me that was messaged. Now again, my phone, I don't want that. My phone is drowned, so I'm not getting it. All right, so then we have an else, right? So if the attic pet isn't Betsy, otherwise we're going to set the phone number to my wife. Right? So we set it to Jamie. Then we check, right? If the attic pet is equal to Ralph. If it is Ralph, then we post as the message, save Ralph. Otherwise, we're going to make the message, not sure what we caught, baby, good luck. Again, I'm going to go up and get it, right? And then we just log out that Jamie was messaged, right? You could flip this ternary operator, but this is fine. Or you could just use an if statement too. And I guess we don't need that log anymore. And then lastly, I return an object, and the object has the phone and the message, right? Okay, so let's that's my from phone number. I guess I don't know if I have to hide that or not. Not sure. Might be a good idea, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll see if I remember. If not, don't do anything bad with it. Let's go to save. Now, folks, I think that's it. I don't think we have to do any, well, you do have to do something else. When we do the right package.json, and I just had this issue. I was getting an error with the TensorflowJS -node, right? So the library specifically for Node. You need TensorflowJS, but also the Node library. And I was getting a quirk, and I spent a good amount of time. It was well over an hour. And then somebody should have just started by going to the NPM page for TensorflowJS. But some genius there let me know, and I will put this. I'll put it on the README, so it'll be a note on the README file. You need to run this line. So you have to rebuild the TensorFlow library if you're getting an error. You could try it first, and if you're not getting a binding error, you don't worry so much about what the error is, but if you get some weird error, you could just rebuild your TensorFlow library. So it'll rebuild it from source, and then everything worked perfectly. Okay. So let's see. I don't know if I've made all the changes I need to, but let's give it a shot. Let's see what we got. So we're going to do a node app dot. I've got my. Let's see here. So we forgot something. Oh wait a minute. So now I'm getting the binding error again. Let's see here. I thought I fixed that. Put it this way, it was just working right here, which is kind of funny. Oh, I went and did an npm install again, so it went back out to npm. It got the tfjs -node. So there you go. You can see the error, by the way. And I am using the latest version of Node, so 20 dot whatever it happens to. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm using 18. I thought I was using the latest version. And then the latest versions of TensorFlow, so let's do node -v. So no, I am using 18.16 here, but it will. Let me do this as soon as I'm done. I'm going to switch node versions, and we'll make sure it works with node 20, whatever the newest version is that you probably have. Now, if you just follow my instruction. Inside the README, I did have to download 18, but all right. So now let's do node app.js, and I'm going to switch. Let's do node version nvm ls. Let me see what versions I have. I'm going to switch to 20.2. So I'm going to do nvm. Don't worry, you guys don't have to do this part. Just grab the latest version, and we'll do, what was it, 20.2, I think it was. Not 0, but 2. Okay, so you want to make sure, and I'll update here. Let's take a look here. We go to the README. I am going to I'm going to make sure I update this this line. Oops, which would be right here. Now you could use 18, but you'd have to roll back to, I think, version, what was it? When I was using 18, I had to use version 3 of the TensorFlow libraries, but they won't work now, so you'd have to roll forward. If you're going to use version 4, you'd have to roll forward. But anyway, to make your life easier, just use the latest version of Node and the latest versions, which will be in the package.json, so you don't have to do anything but, npm install. All right, now let's see here. I'm gonna put Betsy in front of the camera here a little bit, and I'm gonna close my read switch. And you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed the well, I guess you can't. Let's see here. Okay, so the only reason that so it's 60% sure it got Betsy, right? And the only reason it messaged Jamie is because of, well, this line, right? So if we go to classify and we scroll down here a little bit, let's oh no, it's not here. It's in the main app. Where did I? There we go, right here. So let's so it has to be at least 70%. So let's do let's say at least 50%. Yeah, I didn't take a heck of a lot of pictures here, so I'll save this. Let's do Control C, and let's bring this up again, and we'll run it again. And I had the read switch closed, so I probably didn't get all that good of a photo. And so you're saying, well, why the heck did it think it was Ralph? Who knows? I don't know. It didn't get anything, so it thought Ralph. Now, if Ralph had maybe one more image, then maybe Ralph. But okay, so now I've got a Betsy right in front of the here. Let's do this. I've got Betsy right in front of the camera here. And let's grab this here. All right, so kind of got Betsy. Let's change our zoom. All right, so there's our camera. I got Betsy there, and let's try it one more time. See if this is going to work a little bit better. It's let's see here. So it's that is bizarre. It's still thinking Ralph. Now, folks, there's also background stuff that it grabbed too. So I'm going to move Betsy back a little bit. So now I've got Betsy, as far back as I can go right now. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Nope. It still wants to think. It still thinks Betsy is Ralph. Let's stick Ralph here. Right, so we got Ralphie. So let's pull that out. Watch it thinks Ralph is Betsy. That'd be funny. All right. So now it's pretty much sure. It's 99% sure, and it's absolutely sure it's not Betsy. But here, let's maybe change the let's change the angle of Betsy a little bit. And again, I didn't get a heck of a lot of pictures here, so change my angle of my camera a little bit, and there we go. 63% it thinks it's Betsy. So, folks, this isn't a in this case, it's not a heck of a lot of images that we used. You can take a good amount all around the object if you really want it. If you really want it to be classified. And the last thing is I didn't talk about the light. So if you don't want the light at all, you could do what? You could comment this line out. So at this point, comment this out, right? So you don't need that. You could delete the file, but you don't need to. And then just go down into your process and do not turn on the light. Now also, do not turn it back off. Right? So if you comment those lines out, then you don't have to have gotten a the relay or anything. You just don't use a light, and you can still do the whole thing. All right, so I do realize that one was probably a little bit drony, but hopefully it helped. It's going to be a process. I will update the code. I'll make sure I put that line to rebuild the TensorflowJS node library, because you'll have to do that, and you'll be bummed if you have to jump through the hoops like I did. Again, folks, feel free. I put my in the very first video, I put my my school email. Always send me an email if you have some questions or something. You can put comments. I just don't look for the most part. I have a billion other things going on, like all of you. So I don't spend a lot of time looking at those. But I do check my email because my students email me all the time. So I hope it helped. I know it was a mouthful, but I had fun doing it, and I had promised my students for about a year now I would do this when I first showed a group, and I just hadn't gotten to it. So here it is, and feel free, send me an email. Let me know what you did. Take a little video of it. I'd love to see it. All right, take care.